This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Recorded August 3rd, 2016. Episode 310. Mergers and Acquiescence.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
I'm still alive.
Hello, Gimpy.
Gimpy?
Yeah, Gimpy. I'm going to refer to you as Gimpy.
What's Gimpy?
Gimpy, like you have a gimp. You have a lame leg. I don't know. Gimpy.
No, Gimpy. Maybe I've kind of heard of that term in the past, but I don't know. You're speaking American again. No.
Yeah. How you feeling? How's the old knee? How's the leg?
It's doing splendidly.
All right. I've been watching all your disgusting updates and been disgusted, and you're disgusting, and you should never publish that stuff on YouTube. That's what I'm trying to say.
Didn't you read my warning intro?
I totally did. Actually, I don't think you read. You were asking me about this before you actually posted it, and you were asking me, I believe, on chat which channel you should push it to, EEV blog or EEV blog 2, and I said you should push it to EEV Nope. Because
yes,
Nope,
EEV Nope.
I don't want to ever see that stuff.
Really? Are you that squeamish?
Oh yeah, I meant to tell you the story. So okay, here's my story.
Okay,
I did mention that. Yeah, I had mentioned this to you. So the time where I knew I would never be a doctor, right? Because I had everybody goes through that phase, like, oh, maybe I want to be a doctor someday. Well, not everybody, but like a lot of people talk about that,
right?
And I remember the exact time. It was the first day of biology class, and so they're like, all right, we're going to dissect a worm today. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. And and then the first thing that happens is I'm the odd man out. I don't have a partner, right? So I'm just sitting around, like I'm already looking like the loser, right? And then Mrs. Polar, she says, okay, everybody, it's time to start the first cut. So take out your scalpel and do that. And what I do is I grab the scalpel, and then I grab with my index finger, I wrap my index finger around the edge of the protective case, and then I pull the scalpel out, and I immediately slice through my finger.
Nice work. And you fainted? What
I did not faint, but I had to go get a tetanus shot, and because I was just outside of the window of my tetanus shot being good, and that was when I knew I was never going to be a doctor.
Because you were not because you were scared of it, because you were clumsy, or did this scar you?
Oh, that totally scarred me. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So your clumsiness scarred you psychologically.
Yeah, I mean, at least with electronics, you get shocked a little bit, you're fine, whatever. But
I don't know, it can kill you. Whereas,
sure,
if you have a blade,
scalpel can kill you too.
Yeah, but only if you go across the throat or across your wrist or something.
Technically, that's true for electricity too. It's only if it's across the heart or across the temples.
Okay, right.
If you're sticking electricity across your temples, you're doing it wrong. Okay. So yeah, no, okay. I knew, and I don't know, over time, I've just gotten worse and worse. So I'm pretty squeamish these days. I'm going to be honest, and your knee's gross, so. There's that.
Like it's like there was no blood at all. There's no blood in it.
I wouldn't know because I didn't look, and I never would.
Like people ask me that. How did I edit that video and do the commentary over the top of it for half an hour and watch my own knee being hacked to bits? It's just science, I mean, it's like
science. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure.
Right.
Gross. All right, back to electronics. Unless you had an electrode implanted in there, we're going to stop talking about it.
No, I have a biodegradable screw.
That's kind of cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. They like some people said, oh, you got to watch out for metal detectors now. No, there are no metal screws. They put a biodegradable. I actually put a data sheet on the video.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And it's like 30% calcium something or other and 50% some other acronym. And, well, that's not 100%, is it? Anyway, and
like everything with Dave, 10% BS.
Yeah, right. And then they screw it. Yeah, they screw it into your bone, and it biodegrades into your bone, and your bone actually dissolves it, or dissolves it, and then eats around and reforms. So your bone actually,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
no,
it's great.
I mean, like that's the thing that's really a disappointment too, because like honestly, I was talking to a friend about some bio stuff earlier today too, and when you really look at like where interesting science is going towards, kind of the futurism type stuff, I think it's all that interesting things like, and we've even talked about on here, self-assembling circuits based on like DNA profiles, stuff like that. Like there are very interesting things happening in the biospace. I don't understand any of them. I don't understand why they always are using pipettes. I don't understand. Every time I hear something about a DNA computer, they show someone with a pipette, and I'm just like, now what? I know that I've talked to friends since then. They're like, oh, well, like there's the RNA chain, blah, blah, blah. It strips off this and that and does this, and CTAG and PT. I don't even know what the letters are. And pass. Hard pass.
If there was one field that I would recommend that Sagan and Huxley go into, when it's some form of biomedical research, engineering, something like that. The brain we know nothing about.
Sure.
I think we've talked about that on here before, and there's huge opportunities there.
I mean, like electronic biointerfaces type
things,
right?
of course,
There's tons of great stuff there.
Tons of it. So
even how about the number one thing we have on our subreddit this week? We have basically I didn't get too much into this, but I did read about it. But basically, it's a electricity carbon. What are they called? Hydrocarbon conversion method. Basically, it's basically photosynthesis, right? So it's a new process that has been announced out of University of Illinois Champaign, I think, UIC. Is that right? Is that Champaign or Urbana?
I don't know. I don't have the link in front of me.
Yeah.
How do you sort Reddit by the number of upvotes?
You do top, and then you'd search in the last week or last month or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. And so this is actually University of Illinois at Chicago. So, but the idea is, so one of the big problems is right now, you can get solar cells and then you can charge batteries, and a lot of those battery banks are like things like the Tesla home bank or whatever they call it.
Yep.
That's a great solution, right? I mean, it's based on existing technology. It's very real. It happens right now. But the main problem being that you can't, like, batteries are still not a great, they're definitely not even close to, gasoline or other hydrocarbons.
In terms of energy density per square.
Exactly. Yep.
Centimeter.
Yeah, making small explosions is still a better conversion method, and but there was no reverse, and it's at least based on this article says they're starting to move towards that, and that could be pretty big.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Definitely.
I mean, to be honest, I was talking to someone about this at dinner last night, and I was like, yeah, okay, sure.
As you do.
Yeah. No. I mean, like we were just talking about articles and stuff like that we just heard about, but honestly, like what I told this person, I was like, I'll believe it, but I'll believe it after I see it 4 times in a row, and then add 10 years onto that, and that's when it actually gets implemented. Like there's a big difference between, like, fusion exists, obviously, right? We have the sun,
yes,
but it's not, it's always been, and in 20 years, fusion will be the next. It's been like that for 20 years, and that 20 years later that'll come. So there is a big difference between the lab.
But sometimes they don't come. Sometimes they just peter out and go, that's not really practical in the real world, and we couldn't figure out how to make it practical. Give up, Yeah. It's very common.
But if this was, I think if this was actually one, this would be huge,
I've got a segue. Like Elon Musk's Hyperloop.
Hyperloop, yeah.
There's lots of controversy about that at the moment.
What about
because,
it? I haven't seen this.
Oh, okay. Well, Thunderfoot, fellow video blogger who does solar, he does science videos, awesome science videos. Anyway, he did a Hyperloop busted video where he basically says it's, not a it's never going to be a practical thing. There's just too many engineering issues with it. He didn't, And anyway, there was a big to-do on the EV blog forum, as there always is, over that. And others are saying, well, it's not busted.
That could be like the subtitle of like, there's always a big to-do. Welcome to the EV blog forum.
Yeah.
Do you have a shortage of to-dos? We have to-dos for you. Big to-dos even.
And yeah, actually, I was surprised there wasn't more people going, oh yeah, it's obviously, really impractical. A lot of people were defending it. Very solar roadways like defense, actually, which I was.
Was there any science and not emotion?
At.
I mean, emotion is one thing, but
science
is another.
They were saying, oh, they're engineering challenges, and you can't say it's busted. And well, okay, fair enough. They're trying to overcome all these challenges, but like, as an engineer, it's just like I immediately see the concept and I go, like, 600 kilometer long tunnel that's under a 99.9% vacuum, and it has to maintain that for the 600 kilometers, or like, it's just it's insane. And you would have to, and to prevent some redneck come along with their gun and just shooting a hole in the bloody tube, which is running along the highway, right? Then and it'd implode and do the pressure wave would go through and kill everyone and everything else. And well, everyone says, oh, just have interlocks every couple of kilometers, and it's like, geez, I can do the math in my head. Those interlocks have to separate vacuum, and then they've got to open and close within a second or two of a capsule arriving at the speed of sound. It's like it's just insane.
Yeah.
To me, it's an insane engineering solution. And I've been on a maglev train at 430 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's real. And it works. Yes, it's half the speed, right? It's half the speed of the Hyperloop, but it's a real engineering solution that works and doesn't have all the drawbacks.
Well, and I think that's ultimately what it comes down to, like with a lot of those things.
Crazy.
It's like when you're starting from. Okay, so first off, I don't really care.
Right? Fair enough. Okay.
But like ultimately, that's an improvement to an existing system, right? That's taking trains and making them go faster. Hyperloop is like, well, let's start from scratch because they're even. There are no bullet trains in the U.S. really. I mean,
no. But the
ones that you were on
Hyperloop is not a new idea. It's 100 years old.
No, I know,
right?
But I'm just saying that,
and
like,
there's
in
a
terms
reason
of
why people haven't
infrastructure,
run with it. I think
there's existing infrastructure, right? So ultimately, if you're going to analyze this from an engineering perspective, it comes down to cost, and I think that is really where it could fall apart.
Yeah, but it's not just cost; it's the fragility of the system as well. It's the robustness. I do. See, I'm a practical engineer. That matters to me.
No, that's not true at all, though, because it ultimately comes down to cost. Because
no.
What about sending things to space? Like, that's impossible, right?
Yes,
but we did it with lots and lots and lots of money.
We did. Bad analogy, because we're not doing it. But
I'm just
like
saying that
every day.
that was overcome
we're not
because
doing
of cost.
We're not going to the moon 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, transporting millions of people. Okay? Yes, we'll eventually do that.
Yeah,
all
sure.
Right?
Okay.
Right? But it's like, there are
the scourge of the rocket equation.
Right? But, see, and the space thing, right? Okay, you go into the moon. Fine, you're in a vacuum. Yep, you can deal with that solution and everything, right? But there's nothing. Some redneck can't come along with their gun and shoot potholes in it. Into your space, seriously.
Not with that attitude, they can't. Come on.
I mean, it's just like, it's not going to happen. And Elon's not actually putting his own money into it. Everyone thinks it's Elon's thing. He just renamed it. He just gave it a name. And somebody, I don't know who actually, who runs the Hyperloop company, Elon's got nothing to do with it. His money's not in it. He isn't involved in the company in any way, shape, or form. But because of the hype surrounding it, because it's Elon's, because Elon supported the idea, raised the idea, then, somehow somebody's got money and they're working big time on it. They've got like 60 or 100 engineers or something working on it. And I think it's not going to happen. Mark my words. It's not going to happen.
Okay, Dave. You love saying that.
It's impractical, and I'm usually right.
Yeah, but you always say it in the negative. You're never like, you never bet on the house, or you never bet on the, you're always the guy that bets against the dice rolling, you know, what's it called? You're a don't pass better in craps. You always bet on craps. You never bet on
I've never played
the fun
craps,
piece.
so I don't. Right. No,
yeah.
okay. You want me to make a bet on?
Yes, I would love for you. Yeah.
Right.
Let's go, man. Let's do this.
All right. Mars, we can do that. We can have humans on Mars in 20 years.
Of course we can do that. Okay.
What?
All right. Well.
No. Well, you're saying I'm a doomsayer for everything.
Okay, you're right.
Right?
You're right.
No?
Okay, so Mars.
Bullshit.
So 20 years. We're going to be in Mars.
No, we could. It's highly political. No, I wouldn't
highly
say.
Political, yeah, right.
You know,
right.
no, we could do it right. We could do it right now.
Do it right now. Let's go.
In fact, we could do it within. I believe we could do it within 8 years if we really had to, but 8 to 10. But I know that's not going to happen for political and funding reasons.
I know.
Yeah.
We had someone post on the on the Reddit, the subreddit, about favorite books, and it was actually about favorite professional books, and I read that after the fact, and I was like, oh, and because I was so excited to talk about Seven Eves. Have you heard about Seven Eves? It's a Neil Stephenson novel.
Nope.
Oh, it's really good.
Right.
It's not a spoiler, but the first line of the book, the moon blows up. And
okay, that's cool.
It's crazy.
Cool.
It's just really yeah. So I read the Diamond Age from him too. These are all recommendations to me. I never found these books. Is it
like science faction?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
fact fiction. And actually, is like as in like Andy Weir's Martian. Is it like?
Yeah, exactly. Yep,
right.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
so the book
it's a little bit more futurism.
It's
a little bit more futurism than The Martian, I think.
Right, but the moon blows up, and what everyone on Earth has to deal with the physics of what happens.
I don't want to talk about the rest. But they're actually one of the main characters. I'm pretty sure is based on Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Right.
like you read the description, you're like, that's Neil deGrasse Tyson. But it's really good.
One of the science channels did a real interesting video. What would happen if the sun just vanished?
Oh, really?
It was fascinating. People would go, like, the Earth we'd still survive for like a couple of years, but, you know, all our crops would die, and, you know, people would eventually die of starvation and all that. But we would have enough oxygen and stuff like that. Like, there's enough oxygen actually in the atmosphere to last us like 50 years or something. I don't know, some incredible figure you'd think wouldn't be real, you know, but it's like, yep.
It'd be really dark though too, huh?
It'd be, yep.
I guess it's like that at night, so.
That's right. But,
I would think the gravitational effects, stuff like that too.
No, the main thing would be the number of people we have to feed. That would be the problem, you know.
Eventually you just eat other people. It's fine.
Yeah, well, you know.
Eventually, you know, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop.
Next thing
Anyways,
will be
that is a good book.
Invoking Godwin's law next, you know.
Yeah, right.
Like, we'll get there. All right, come on.
Some of the nonfiction books that there were some other good ones that I posted.
Where's this post?
It's what are some nonfiction, non-EE books read by EEs.
Right.
The poster,
Yes,
Mike Ailes wrote about black box thinking facts.
I
it was based on
your post.
No, because we had talked about outliers at one point, I think, and so that was the
Scale.
The question here.
I'm reading Scale I kind of started reading Scale. It's not that great.
No, it's kind of businessy.
Yeah, it's a bit like, no, I don't. Yeah.
That was one of my recommendations, you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of your recommendations, and I got it. I downloaded it to my Kindle, and it's like, get to the point, you know.
Yeah. And Disrupted is fantastic. It's like basically, if you like the show Silicon Valley, one of the writers is the guy that wrote Disrupted, and basically at 53 years old, he went and worked for HubSpot, which is like this marketing internet company, and it's just like...
but you make it as if 53 is like, oh man, like he's near death and he's going back to work.
No, but he talks about that. He talks about how he's literally 20 years senior to most people there, including his management.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's... Of course. It was... I liked it. Some people I know said it slowed down, but I thought it was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. SD Trent also posted The Power of Habit. That book.
So you don't have, hang on, you don't have the innovator's dilemma on there. You have the innovator's solution.
Yeah, I was really just looking at what was on my Kindle at the time.
Right, because
I
downloaded, I bought the innovator's dilemma because of your recommendation. It was crap.
You didn't like
it at all? No, I didn't like it. No, once again, it just didn't get to the point. It had business case studies which I didn't care about, and it was like, talking about tractors and bullshit and like.
What do you mean? They were talking about tractors, but they were also talking. Actually, they were talking about like backhoes.
Backhoes or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it was construction equipment. Tractors are like farming.
Yeah.
Backhoes are like construction.
And I like a good business analogy kind of thing, but it just wasn't working for me. That book
there was maybe you're reading an older version too, because they also talk about hard drives and stuff too, and that's when Bob Davidson was on.
That sort of got me interested because I think tractors were first and then hard, and then I flicked through and like hard drives were next or something. But so I got and then it started going down.
Honestly, I just think it's super relevant to our stuff though too. I mean, like basically, it is the story of Regal, dude. I mean, like you are part of it. Like this is the same story you see over and over again.
Yep,
right?
I know.
It is. You don't want to pay $4,000 for a tech scope. You're buying a $400 Regal scope, right? It's the same thing with the ESP8266. Honestly, the only thing it's got going for it is the price. And yet,
of course,
that's what. The ESP32 is coming out, right? And there's going to be other ones, and it just the low end stuff moves you up the marketplace.
I just couldn't get into the book. That's all. Sorry.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Right. Yeah. And it's, I mean, Clay Christensen is a Harvard professor. I mean, he became a Harvard professor.
That's why it was a hard read for me, I think. And
I think it's worth reading. It is, it might be a little bit of a struggle, but it is worth reading. But you know what? You just see it over and over and over again. And that's when I saw the ESP8266, man, that is, you look at that, you say, that's the future, right? You got huge companies. You got the Broadcoms of the world. You got all the people doing, like these big chip companies, and that's fine. But the thing is, they'll swat at the fly for a little bit, but they're never going to. They don't if they don't squash it right off. They ignore it for a little while, and then eventually it sneaks up on them, and then it eats them. And it's how it goes, because that nimbleness in the marketplace is what matters. And I think it's actually really interesting from our current perspective in that, all we hear about and all we're going to talk about today is big companies swallowing up other big companies, right?
Oh, we're going to get into that.
Well, of course we will. And it's the thing is, the big companies for a long time are going to say, oh, well, we don't really worry about, Shenzhen Semiconductor number 5 or whatever. I forget who always talks about that. But honestly, that's, you and me and all the people listening that are doing hobby projects and everything else, you're going to find a part, and eventually it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, how about the WS2812, right? Nobody, I still don't know, what is it, World Products or something like that? It's like something like that.
Yep.
And it's just, it doesn't matter. They're everywhere now, though, right? And it's just, they build a brand around it.
But, are they? It might be everywhere in our little world, but does that matter in the big world? I'm talking the 100 million shipments world. It might be on every hobby blog. Yeah, Artafruit are using it in every project. SparkFun, everyone else, every man is. But does that matter?
Well, okay. So here's where I think that matters: is you're going to get
it's flow-on effect. That's what you're going to say. I can read your mind. It's then these people go on to form bigger companies, and then they'll use the same chip that they're used to using.
Yeah, exactly. It's the kids that are in college that are just doing these little projects that eventually, it just sneaks up on you, And I've said for a long time, Atmel fell into the biggest score they ever had, and you and I know that they ignored the shit out of it at the beginning, and and now it's basically that could have saved them if they wouldn't have gotten bought by Microchip, and if they would,
but there's always a but. Would it have? Would it actually? You can say you can try and extrapolate that it might. But
I think the fact that they did a pretty good job
in Arduino. Yes, they sold millions of them, but does that matter to their bottom line? They need to sell hundreds of millions, not millions or tens of millions.
Sure.
right?
Yeah, I think maybe there wasn't enough time. Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that.
Right.
But like,
Okay.
I think they did a pretty decent job. Like the Sam 21D stuff that they came out with, like, that transitioned a lot of people that were, looking for more power,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, it was good enough.
But
But
I know as a design engineer that, for prototypes or, when, management comes to me and go, okay, we're going to design this. Yeah, I'm going to use the chip that I'm used to, right?
Uh-huh.
But that doesn't necessarily, I'm going to try to, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the actual one that's going to be used, because there might be other deciding factors that influence it. Like, what is the company use? What is the company standard? Do they use it in other products? Like, you can't just
right, but
arbitrarily assume that kids of today, because they're using the Atmel or they're using the WS chipset or whatever it is, are going to go then use that in their $100 million consumer winning idea. Right.
Right. I think it only happens in aggregate. Yeah. No. You're right. You're spot on with that, I think. But it happens in aggregate where, okay, so now you normally would have a sales force where you're pounding the pavement, trying to get people to use new chips, stuff like that. It's more about the, it's won in these small battles where, okay, now there's an undecided project. You do get to decide. Someone gets to decide, and they choose this one thing, option A that they've used since college, kind of thing. And then the next time comes along, and then option A again. And like that's the thing. Like it's these small battles over time, and that can have a multiplicative effect. You're right that pricing
it can,
and
but
scale.
I've never seen any evidence that is the case. I know
you
there's
haven't
evidence.
Been in college in a long time.
In
you
the
were old,
I mean, there's evidence of that in the CAD market, for example, because I come from Altium. There's huge evidence that,
and it comes in the MCAD too, right?
Oh yeah. The companies that flood the universities with all free or low cost CAD tools are the ones that will win 20 years down the track.
Right. You got to play the long game.
Yeah,
sure.
Yep. But I've yet to I think I've yet to see evidence of that in the semiconductor. Well, no, you could argue that there's evidence there in the 6502, for example, because it was $20. Chuck Peddle was selling them out of the barrel at the whatever trade show it was for $20. It was 1/10 the price of every other microprocessor, and then the Woz came along and handed over his $20 and got a 6502. That's why it was used in the Apple. Okay, and there's and many other.
I don't know if we can use that as a
time.
modern day example, but yes.
No, but that's an example from 40 years ago, right?
A low cost coming from the bottom up kind of thing. Yeah, sure.
Right, and it got in the hands of the enthusiasts, and that's
we should
what
remind people that we had Chuck on the show, and he told that story, so we can go and listen to that, and I'll link that in.
Yes, those enthusiasts went on to form some of the biggest corporations on the planet, right?
Right.
And and so there's evidence there.
Yeah, and maybe we're at an era where scale matters more too. Like where there's some smaller kind of company that's doing that kind of thing, but it's the large semiconductor company that's going to offer the best pricing every time, and pricing is all that matters for a certain type of market. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is those guys would have won anyways, and it's all of the the indecision that gets won by those small battles. And
I wouldn't disagree at all.
Okay.
There's
a first. Yeah.
We agree on something. Anyway,
we should talk about big companies buying big companies.
Well, hey, hang on. This one I've just seen because I've been laid up for a while. I haven't really been following.
Oh, my knee.
What's this about? Avnet have offered more for Farnell. I thought the Farnell buyout was done by
Detweiler. Yeah.
Detweiler? I thought that was a done deal.
Apparently not, Dave. Apparently not.
Okay, so what? So Avnet are now the front runner?
Yeah, and it's not even done yet. I mean, like Detweiler might come back. It's
right.
I think what it really comes down to is that Farnell's not coming back anytime soon. They ain't bouncing back from this. They are getting absorbed by someone.
But they already spun off they definitely spun off the CAD, the Eagle thing.
Yeah, they sold Eagle, right?
Right, okay.
And it's not just that either. I mean, I don't know if you knew, but
I thought that was the call. I thought that necessarily wasn't the call of Farnell. I thought that was the call of their new owner.
No.
Okay.
No, they were shedding segments and engineer. Like I knew some engineers that got laid off there too.
What at where? Farnell's.
Farnell, yeah.
Oh, okay, right, okay. So they're going through it. So they're already going through.
They were slimming down for sale.
They were slimming
basically.
down for sale, right? They were making themselves look all pretty.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Oh, look at all this free cash flow we have. Blah, 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 blah.
Look, I'm a pig, but I've got lipstick on. Look.
Look at my delicious bacon ready for the harvesting. Yes. Yeah. Bacon is money in this case. People bring it home.
I feel better about this now because, hey, Avnet's,
I don't. This is stupid.
No? What? Okay.
Why?
Well, I have not thought about it. I literally just seen it, but like I don't know anything about Detweiler.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that bugs me about all this stuff. This is the same thing about Atmel and Microchip. Atmel was supposed to be bought by whatever that German automotive company was. I forget it now. Dialog.
Oh, God.
Dialog Semiconductor.
Dialog had to go. That's right.
Right. And then Microchip came in and said, we'll give you more money. The board, of course, said, yeah, why not? Yeah, okay,
why
great.
not?
Well, here's the thing. Dialog would have operated, at least in theory. This is in my head, so it's not proven out, but Dialog was not a microchip company. Atmel is a microcontroller company.
Right.
Atmel is a microcontroller company. They would have probably left them at least somewhat intact, right?
Correct. I agree.
Microchip comes in. They are
gonna
a microcontroller.
Yeah, they're going to eat them alive.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it removes
management may
options.
not care. But
for us.
Yes, it does for us and for the employees as well. They would be scared now that Atmel employees would be scared now that they've been bought by Microchip.
I mean, they've already started laying people off. I mean,
right,
like it's
okay.
There is no reason. Like once that goes through, right? I don't see why they would keep everyone around.
Oh no, totally.
Like, of course, right? That just doesn't make sense, and that's the reason they want to buy. Like, there's efficiencies to be had, blah blah blah.
That's
NBA
right.
playbook.
Yep.
Fine, right? However, the fact that there was these other companies that were ready to buy them, it's like, okay, well, then me personally, guy who never buys microcontrollers but has to talk about them, and friends I know, right? Maybe other podcasts that talk about microcontrollers a lot, friends that build projects with microcontrollers. That's great. They have now lost a good chunk of available options. And you know what? I don't want to sound like a crazy capitalist, but I sort of am sometimes. And you know what? Competition is friggin' good. That's what matters for us, right? I want to be able to talk to an applications engineer and a sales engineer and be like, you're screwing me on price. I'm going over there. And if every time that someone shuts down the over there, I am hurt, and I hate that. And this is what we see over and over again. And honestly, this is the same problem. Avnet now, Detweiler is a holding company, effectively, as far as I could tell. Like they're not a holding company, but they're not venture capital. They're a private equity, right? They're not gonna. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They just want money. They just want the top line money to come to them. Great.
Exactly.
That means me, engineer, wants to buy stuff. Like, okay, now Avnet's price is stupid. I go to Premier Farnell. Great, I can go buy it there, right? I want a comparison shop. I don't. I want an extra. I don't go to Kmart, but I want a Kmart around so it keeps Walmart on their toes and Target on their toes. And these are retailers in the U.S.
You are totally right. Yeah, it just dawned on me. Yes, it's like this is like the Microchip Atmel merger. It's exactly the same thing.
Oh, and there's a worse one coming. This is what I'm going to really bitch about.
Okay.
I was so pissed when I saw this. So the other one that obviously we're going to talk about, I talked about with Stefan.
Have we finished the Avnet Farnell one?
I don't know what else to say other than until it goes through. It's not guaranteed, but the thing that is guaranteed, and ultimately what's, again, this is quasi-political. I'm really pissed off, at least in the U.S., that the SEC doesn't block anything anymore, right? Basically, there is no monopolistic assessment anymore.
I think I asked this on Twitter or something, or on the forum. Are there any laws in the U.S. that can stop these?
The SEC is supposed to do that kind of thing, and that's fine. But they've been toothless for a long time, and And the thing is, like, this is small beans to them. Like, all of this stuff. And some of these companies aren't U.S. based. That's the other thing. It's like we're in a global world. There is no, once you get outside that, it's like at a certain point, there's almost no stopping it. And it's like, look, I get it. I'm fine with it. Like, what the hell am I going to do?
They would only care if Apple merges with Samsung or something like that, or
I guess so,
or Ford merges with whoever, Toyota or something,
Right, and certain countries have issues too, right? I mean, there's like a lot of anti-competition stuff that goes on with like Google in France. Like France has a big beef with Google, blah blah blah. But like ultimately, what it comes down to, I don't want to get political about it, but like ultimately, what it comes down to is that me as a consumer of buying electronic components, this is bad for me, and that's what I know.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah.
And I keep getting upset by this because, like, I understand why they're doing it, but like, it just upsets me personally.
Well, how many companies have Avnet bought over the years? Was somewhere we can go
this is
through
how they grow.
How long have we been doing the show? 6 years?
6 years
Plus? Yeah, 6 years.
In August.
Can we go
my God,
through
6 years. We missed our friggin'... Oh, wait, no, we haven't missed it yet.
Do we have an
it's like next
anniversary?
week. Next week's our anniversary. Dave, you forgot our anniversary. I can't believe you.
I forget my own wedding anniversary, let alone the bloody
Don't you know, Dave, the 6th year anniversary is... Oh, shit. I thought I'd be able to find this. There's like all the ones you're supposed to get for...
Oh, right. Is it...
Yeah.
Please tell me it's like copper or something like that. Like it's
That'd be great, actually. Yeah.
Electrical usage material.
Hold on.
Tantalum.
I know there's a Wikipedia article. So the 9th is pottery. So our 9th...
What's 6? Does 6 have any?
6th is sugar. So
sugar, no.
Sugar. You gotta mail some candy. 7th is copper and wool. 8th is bronze.
So copper is our big one.
9th is pottery. 10th is tin. 11th is steel. Wait. Where the hell is the lead? Come on, man.
I know. It's all this lead-free bullshit.
Yeah, right? On the 15th, apparently we'll buy each other, crystals, right? So like timepieces, right?
Right.
I assume that's what they mean by crystal.
Right. Screw what they mean. It's what we mean. What it means to us.
Right. Exactly. Where are we going there? So in the 6 years that we've been having the show,
how many people are like? Because Avnet, over the last 15 years or so, I don't know, whatever, have bought so many companies. Like there used to be so many distributors. I'm sure we talked about this early in our early years, our formative years on the Amp Hour. Avnet have bought another. We follow
the
talk
news
about
basically.
all this time. All these distributors. We were talking about it for years. It was one of our running gags.
How about this? We were reading the articles on EE Times. And since then, EE Times has been bought by a distributor. So yes, we've been doing that for a long time, and there are practicalities behind this stuff, right? The reason that Avnet grows by an Arrow and these big ones grow by acquisitions because their margins are getting squeezed, and it's like, all right. I get that. Like that's this is part of the industry we're in.
Somebody needs to do like a huge map, like a huge graphical map of how all of these companies have been eaten up in our industry over the years, and it'll look like a map that's sort of gravitating towards this black hole in the center.
What if it was an animation of like little fishies? And then one fish eats another fish,
an animated
and then it gets bigger.
And something like that. We need to. There needs to be somebody's got to do it. Come on.
Yeah, that's how it always works.
Take it
we say somebody's got to do it, and they just go do it.
All right. Because it'd be fascinating to actually see in our industry how many distributors and semiconductor companies have been bought out by who and things like that.
It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, because like in
maybe
the 80s, the margins were so high.
Yeah, maybe there's something for the semiconductor industry. I'd be surprised if somebody hasn't mapped the semiconductor industry takeovers over time. So if anyone knows of any infographic out there or something that shows that, at least, let us know.
Well, there's a Wikipedia article list of mergers and acquisitions by Apple. So I'm sure that exists for other companies, but yeah.
How many on the list?
79.
70. Is that all? I expected hundreds.
Wait, no, that can't be right.
I expected
hundreds. What did this turn into? Acquisitions turned into...
It's got to be more than that.
That it was the last one on the list is Carpool Karaoke with James Corden.
What?
which is that doesn't make any sense. That might be a maybe it got sponsored by them or something. But
is the amp hour for sale? If Apple want to come along,
if the price is right, buddy,
you
I'd sell you. I would sell you.
You sell me in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, come on, man. Apple comes along with $3 billion and they're like, we want to buy Dave. I'm like, to take all of Australia. I don't care. I ain't using it. Yep.
Next.
All right. Well, anyways, on to the thing that really pissed me off.
Right.
Basically, the thing that Stefan mentioned last week when I interviewed him, and he sent his best wishes. I know you didn't listen.
Thank you very much.
Like I told him that you wouldn't listen, but he did wish you well, and I did too.
Thank you very much. I shall now go back and listen.
Oh, sure. Yeah, right.
Well, the intro anyway, so that we're sure you did.
Yeah, it wasn't in the intro. It was about an hour and a half deep.
Right. Because I was probably under the knife when you recorded that, maybe. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I did actually. Me and Dave actually talked about how we would handle the whole surgery thing, and I had proposed that Dave hopped up on meds, do a show with me.
Right.
But he wasn't going for it, so I don't know.
Because I don't do meds. Like, it's...
You went under, though. That's what I mean. Like, you were probably a little loopy when you came up, right?
No.
You didn't have to go under? Really?
Oh, yeah, no, I went under, but I was a sort of word quickly got around, and I mentioned this word quickly got around in the recovery ward that, geez, this guy talks a lot. But no, I was completely, well, as I remember it, I was completely coherent.
Yeah, of course, right.
Apparently, an interesting thing
But you also
about...
don't drink like I do. You don't drink like I do, so you don't really have the self-awareness of when you're saying stupid shit.
No. All right.
I'm well-trained.
Yep.
Anytime I'm talking to someone else.
No, the only other time people have tried to get me drunk on my Bucks night, it just didn't work. I had how many beers and crap I had. It did nothing.
Damn metabolism, huh?
That was my massive metabolism years. Yeah, now it's like, it goes to the waistline a bit,
Right.
Yeah, that's not as
You're
good
not
as it
missing
used
much,
to be.
don't worry.
Anyway, the interesting thing about general anesthetic, I've only had it twice in my life. The other was like 20 years ago for getting my teeth out, getting some wisdom teeth out. Yeah, which I'm still suffering from.
Lack of wisdom,
the effects of that surgery and lack of wisdom. Yep. So they ripped it. Oh, I've got one left, so I've got a quarter of my original wisdom.
Wow.
Anyway, I remember being wheeled in by a great nurse and anaesthetist. The anaesthetist was an associate professor Greybeard. He was
cool.
he was the coolest Greybeard. Yep. I wish we could have him on the show. It'd be great. Anyway, awesome character. And the nurse, she was a super nerd who was into XKCD. So we're like...
This is the current one or before? This was the current one, right? It must be.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
this wasn't
now.
20 years ago.
Oh, no. The 20 years ago was horrible. The one now.
Gotcha.
Yes. She was into, as if XKCD existed 20 years ago.
Right, well, that's what I was wondering. I was like, oh, maybe they're time traveler.
Right. Yeah, she was a time-traveling nerd nurse. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're pretty common.
Yep. Anyway, yes, she was awesome. Anyway, so I'm told, we're being wheeled into the theatre and we're talking about XKCD, that was cool. Anyway, I remember them taking me from the anaesthesis trolley, putting me onto the operating bed, and then I'm staring. Oh, look at those big LED operating lights. I'm like, having a look at the tech surrounding me, and that's the last thing I remember.
Mm-hmm. That's how it goes.
But when I came back to, they actually told me, oh yeah, we were talking to you for like 10 minutes before the op. And I don't remember any of it. And they say, yes, that is common. You get amnesia before the operation of the events before the operation. Weird. I do not
There's
remember
actually a
it.
really good podcast about, I have to remember which one it was, but they were talking about how they actually measure brainwaves now to actually know when you're actually out, because they actually never used to do that. They would just do it based on, are your eyes closed, can they pinch you, whatever they used to do to test that stuff. Now they actually measure brainwaves for that stuff. But it was just talking about the history of anesthesiology as well, and
Right.
I will definitely
Nice.
link
Yep.
that in.
I would
very
find that
interesting.
fascinating. Yes, please
Yeah.
link it in. I'll have a listen.
How do you spell anesthesiology?
Oh, I can't even bloody well pronounce it.
Yeah.
I won't spell it.
All right. Well, speaking of things that put me into pain, or hopefully retrieve me from pain, we should talk about the big story, which is that Analog Devices is buying Linear Tech.
Oh, yes, I completely forgot. Yes.
Yeah. Which is
Sorry,
the big
let's
that's
say
the other
it
merger.
again in a big radio voice. Go.
Analog Devices is buying Linear Technology. I'm really pissed about it. I'm really just bummed. I mean, I've just been so bummed.
Yeah. These were the last two stalwarts, right? These were the,
No, I mean, TI is a great company, honestly. And this is the reason, that is the reason that they bought them, basically. I know that LT put themselves up for sale, blah, 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 blah. It's just the shitty world we're living in now.
Okay,
I mean,
so LT, right, so that's how it went down. I haven't looked into the details. So LT were going, well, we need an exit strategy here after all these decades, and anyone want to buy us? Is that how it went down?
Yeah, I stopped reading, to be honest.
Right.
I'm so upset about it, it's just, I'm sure that, okay, I should also, full disclosure, I am a Linear Technology shareholder. I profited from this. I'm doing fine. Right. You know what I mean? There's always that silver lining, but at the same time, it's another one that kind of bites the dust. So
your shares instantly went up 24%.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, but I'd rather have the company. You know what I mean?
Yep. Totally.
So, yeah, and there's been some, there's been talk about the culture, blah blah blah. Someone posted to us about how it actually is going to change, and I don't know. You never know until it's all sussed out. And of course, a lot of the companies that say they're gonna, they're gonna maintain the culture, and yet I still drive by the Keithley facility, which now happens to be branded Tektronix. Oh, well, what a surprise! No one saw that one coming. and it's just like, okay, well, I
weren't they selling off tech?
No, the Tektronix is they basically split out of the main Danaher group.
Oh, they split out, so they didn't sell them, but they split out.
Tektronix and Fluke and Keithley are all called Fortive now, which is
what?
Fortive, Fortive.
Really? I didn't know this. When did this happen?
We actually talked about it on the show a couple months ago.
Did we?
Yeah.
Really? I must have amnesia about that.
It just switched over, but it's they announced it a while ago.
Right. What? So you'll be buying Fortive scopes?
No, I mean that's just that's like the main company. That's
like the holding company, but they'll continue to sell under their own
like they're
brands.
split out from all the other Danaher crap. So
right. Yeah. So they didn't. So Danaher didn't sell them. So what was the purpose of Danaher splitting them out?
Yeah, so they basically, if you look at how fast a test equipment company is going to grow versus how fast other companies they have are going to grow, it's going to be very different.
It's a shareholder appeasement.
I think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Got it.
It's a bunch of NBA playbook bullshit. That's what it comes to. I know I swear a lot more than I used to, but this stuff gets me so upset. I understand that I don't know. It's just it's a shame. And it's not I can't really blame them either. That's what really pisses me off. A lot of this stuff, it's responsive to the global economy, and it's just
of course, yeah.
It's a more competitive place. Bigger companies are going to have more advantages. Fine, but man, doesn't make me accept change any easier.
No, of course not. Here is an interesting thing which I didn't know. Quoting from the EE Times article, most of ADI's $2.6 billion yearly revenue came from data converters. Most of it. That was a quote from I don't know, someone called Orr. Is that the CEO or somebody? Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Only 150 million to 200 million comes from power management ICs. This is from Analog Devices. So Analog Devices are almost essentially a data converter company.
I'm surprised there's not a bigger piece that's like op amps and stuff, but I guess
but
I mean,
no,
like data converters are definitely a big piece. I knew that.
Yeah, well, especially like the high end ones that are worth like hundreds of dollars each. There,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
oh, true.
Like the
yeah,
real
like the
leading
high...
edge expensive ones. Yeah. Where they probably really make the margins. And of course, LT are strong in power. LT are the power management company. If you want a primo quality power management part, you're probably going to LT.
Right, and I mean, and like this is the take on TI, right? I mean, TI has both. They have converters. They have
TI have
op amps,
got bloody
they
everything.
have power. Yeah, of course.
They've got micros. They've got their supervisors.
Their micro stuff is not doing great these days. I don't think. I mean, like that's not as big a piece, right?
I don't know. Are you just pulling that fact out of your ass, or are you?
No, I'm basing that on like ARM's success. I mean, like you want to buy an MSP 430 over a Cortex M0 these days. Which one are you going to bet on more? Right. You know what I mean? Like it's
anyway,
just,
right. Yeah, but you
like,
don't
TI
have figures
also
to
has
hand,
Cortex parts, but no, I do not have numbers.
Right. So it was pulled out of your ass.
Oh yes, well I'm the first one to do that on this show.
All right. Point taken. Anyway, so I guess from like a product portfolio point of view, it's not a bad merger, I guess. If you take it at the top level like that. But once again, it's, there's going to be duplicate parts and they're going to less choice.
Yeah,
for us,
maybe. I don't know. Well, here's the thing that I actually think about is, so one of the things that whenever the LT guys would come in, the sales guys would come in and they talk about it, is they talk about the part bank thing. And basically any part, everybody talks about this, right? But one of the things I actually did like about LT is they would store their excess wafers untouched in a vault. I don't know. It's probably not actually a vault. It's a storage facility. Right. Yeah, the part bank. I think they talk about it on their site and stuff like that.
Oh, do they? Okay.
And like basically that, and again, this is marketing stuff. I get that it's marketing. Maybe I was just susceptible to it. I was a sucker, whatever. But you know what? I've never ever had a problem with it. I never had a problem with that LT part in terms of accessibility, of getting parts, stuff like that. And it might be because they were so damn expensive too. But you know what? I don't care, and I will.
Sometimes you don't care. It depends on the product you're developing. Sometimes you just want availability and performance at all cost.
Yeah, and I will disclose another thing that's a little embarrassing, but you know what? It worked, so I don't care. One time I was in a pinch.
One time
and
at
I designed.
Bandcamp. Yep.
One time I was in a pinch, and I was in a rush, and I simulated a power converter circuit in LT Spice, and I didn't have time to prototype it, and I just put it into production.
It didn't.
And it friggin' worked. And look, I know that's super risky, and I know it's bad, Chris. And you know what? I don't care, because the coupling between LT Spice and the actual parts, because we've had Mike on the show,
it's good, yeah,
right? I mean, like, it's what their designers used, and like. It
would come down to a layout issue at that point.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing that anyways. So
right. Okay.
I'm in good shape. I had great layout engineers, and I know, but like that, we've talked about on the show before, LT Spice was their biggest marketing tool, and I just don't, I literally compare it to the ADI tools, and they had that shitball.
Oh,
what was that thing called?
Yeah.
It was it wasn't multisim, was it?
Oh, I don't know.
It might have been multisim. I know someone else used it too. The ADI, yeah.
It's not coming to my mind.
Yeah, but anyways, it was not great. I mean, it had what are those called? IBIS models and stuff like that at one point, but yeah, it was multisim. Yeah, it was multisim. That's right.
Oh, it was multisim, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, 2011. Here's an article from 2011. It said ADI's collaborated with National Instruments on a new release of NI's multisim, and but no, there was another one too. But anyways,
there's ADI Sim.
Yeah, I think that was a newer one, right?
Right. Yeah. Anyway, it's powered by Symmetrics Simplus.
Yeah, basically they weren't bringing it in house, and they didn't do it in the same way, and. Okay. So I should say as well, there's a lot of ADI parts that I've used and I like, and But you know what? The things that scare me, right? So here's another thing. LTE still operates their own fabs, as far as I know. ADI does joint. They do part of, part they still operate their own fabs, and part they are TSMC foundry model. Great. But you do recall, I'm sure, me complaining about how ADI stopped saying they're going to develop analog technology and instead let TSMC keep all of the technology.
Think I remember that. Yep.
And it's just like, man, like
I know, that's just That's
here's what it comes down to. Let's loop it back, right? Here we go. If you do that and TSMC or some other foundry owns your process, guess what? Here comes the young upstart that happens to have a bunch of plucky analog layout engineers on their chip design team, and you know what? Bam. They have the same technology at their disposal as ADI does, and
that's
it's like
right.
Great. They get financing, and suddenly ADI is looking at a hole in their foot that they shot themselves. Yep. You know, like
totally.
and I don't care at that point. I am getting parts that I want. Here's what it really comes down to, because I have obviously expressed my discontent with this move. I am a very big fan of linear tech. I am very brand loyal. ADI converters are good. I would totally go to them for converters, stuff like that. Both of those things. I am brand loyal on both those things. Now, whatever. You want to play the price game? Great. I'll play that game. I'll play you against TI. I'll play you against other big players that might happen to be out there. But like,
might happen to be out there.
They might be lurking in the shadows. There's not many. What, Maxim? Maxim.
Maxim.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Maxim?
They're still out there. Yeah.
They've got a shitty ordering service, Maxim.
They're port sampling.
So no, it's like actually buying parts on their website. Oh, it's horrific. It's horrific. Anyway, let's not go there.
Well, here's what I will say, because I know it's going to come up again. Well, Dave, the reason we were talking earlier in the show as well about predictions of the future, and you made one, and I'm sure that yours is closer than mine, but you know what? One of the reasons that I started talking about a chip printer in the future is that eventually you run out of differentiation. Now, I know that you don't believe in it, and I don't really believe in it either, but
he admits it. He doesn't actually believe in it.
I didn't say it won't happen, but I don't, and whatever. Don't focus on the wrong things here. What I'm saying is, at a certain point, this is what we're coming down to, is like, what do we do? Like, what do we do when there is the chip company, right? Or when it becomes Coke and Pepsi? It's like, all right, maybe you have Coke and Pepsi to play off against each other, but you don't really have that much choice.
Coke and Pepsi is the illusion of choice.
Yeah, right. It's a duopoly, right? I mean, like, that's what it really is that, and that's fine. It operates in a lot of systems like that. Apple, Microsoft, like a lot of things like that. Great.
Unfortunately, that is due to technology. The advancement of technology is just massively expensive, as you said. With the like to build a new fab costs $10-15 billion minimum, or something. It's like new players can't do it. It's physically impossible these days for them to do it. So they have to have access to the fab. So, it's like the fabless model is going to happen.
Well, this is it.
Well, it is.
It's there.
Right? It's there, right? We're almost there.
Welcome to the fabless model, right?
Right? But it's But the startup, but the good thing,
there's no startup.
Yeah, there's a good side to that, right? The good side, you just said it 5 minutes ago, is that some plucky little startup with some smart-ass analog layout engineer has access to the same tools as a $10 billion fab, $10 billion company that's been in the market for 40 years, right? They have access to exactly the same tools and fab.
It's true, yeah.
Right?
Maybe.
So
yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Honestly, that's what it comes down to, is we'll see what falls out. But in the meantime, I'm just sad, Dave. I'm just sad.
They're there.
Thanks. Oh, that was so comforting. You're such a nurturer, Dave. You know.
I am.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You know, we didn't even mention. This is 2 weeks ago. So that's another big one. Obviously, it's not that big for. I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. But ARM got bought too. I mean, that was huge.
Oh, that was. Well. Didn't we talk about that? No, we haven't talked about
it was
that. It's
2 weeks ago.
Since I was,
we never.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was huge. SoftBank, Japan's SoftBank, and if you don't know, the founder of SoftBank, who I believe is still the head, I forget his name. Sorry, I will. Masayoshi-san, I think.
Son or San? S-A-N? San?
Son, S-O-N.
Yeah, that's like Mr. S-O-N?
Yes,
S-O-N? No.
Oh, sorry, I've got an autoplay bloody video here. Pain in the ass. Hate autoplay videos. Anyways,
okay.
He's the original founder and still head in some way of SoftBank. He used to, he was instrumental in the computer industry back in the day. Like him and Bill Gates were like.
Oh, really?
Two of the biggest computer innovators back in the day.
So this would be like the equivalent of like Bill Gates buying like a Japanese company, a Japanese holding company or a Japanese chip company.
Maybe. Anyway, like a lot of people haven't heard of SoftBank, and I hadn't heard of them for like a long I had to go back and vague memory of having heard of them. But no, they're huge. So and the founder's huge. Yes.
Masayoshi-san.
Masayoshi-san. He's the founder of lots of companies that you're probably familiar with in the computer industry. So, he is not a Johnny come like people go SoftBank. Who's that? What do they have to do with ARM and process? This guy knows all about them. He was instrumental in the birth of the computer industry as we know it. You know, the personal computer thing.
By 20, he had graduated and sold his plans for a pocket language translator to Sharp for $1 million.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, this
All right, Dave, you try and get this guy on the show. Get him on the show.
We'll try and get him on the show.
Yeah.
We'll try and get him on the show. Yep.
Oh, man, that's cool.
No, he is a real deal. And he's a tech guy. Like, he will talk your ass off tech until the cows come home, apparently. So
that's badass.
Yeah.
All right, that's a little bit better.
He's still
I feel better
hands-on.
about that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
No, totally. Yes. No, you think SoftBank's just some...
I figured it was just some financier kind of thing,
soulless conglomerate that bought.
Well, it still can be just because they have a
true.
A
nice cool CEO,
forward-facing guy. That's But
anyway,
damn.
Yep. And anyway, there was an interesting article on buying out ARM by my favourite computer blogger, Cringely. SoftBank. Anyway, he had an interesting theory. Sorry, I should have had this. Why SoftBank is paying $32 million. I'll send you for ARM. I'll send you the link. There you go. And he's got an interesting theory in why they're buying it. And sorry, I'd have to quickly scan through here to get to the meat of it.
You'd have to read to learn more. We'll just leave it at that. That's fine.
Yes. Anyway, it's a very interesting theory. So, there you go.
Dave's electronics
that's right.
broken.
No, I think. Sorry, is it what?
Is electronics broken?
What?
I don't know. I read all these stupid articles. I'm getting so sad about all this stuff.
I know it's pretty depressing.
But it's like I don't know. Like people are still doing interesting things, right? It's not like it's going away. But I don't know.
Anyway, no, sorry, here it is. The only way it makes sense for Mr. Sun to buy to buy ARM is if he completely changes their business model, i.e. they actually start making their own chips.
That's interesting.
So, yes, they actually make ARM-branded processors and... Yeah, this is the only way he can say that this makes business sense is for them to change their model. But of course, that then undermines all their customers, right? Who actually
it's right. Who they sold the licensing to?
Huge can of worms.
Maybe.
So anyway.
Well, that's all just speculation at this point. Yep. But it would be interesting only because if someone voluntarily got into into foundry business. I guess it wouldn't even be foundry. It would just be financing chip production and testing and everything. So
right.
Yeah, it could be interesting.
I predict that he will make it a winner. A financial winner, not necessarily what's good for the market. But I think financially he will come out of this a big winner. So,
well, I do know this. The reason I started doing the embedded piece of contextual electronics is because, and the reason I chose ARM specifically, like a lot of people ask, well, why don't you use, this processor, that processor, whatever. I was like, look, I don't care what you think. ARM isn't going away for a little bit. 10 years
right.
at least. It's important to learn that stuff and, learn some of the internal structures and how the registers often look. Yep. There's going to be different peripherals for
By the way,
chip.
But which ARM did you use? Which?
The STM32 F030.
The STMs. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a Cortex M0.
I have done a video on that. Yep.
Yeah, I think I saw that.
Yep.
I have done a lot of videos on
my new product. My new product uses that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's everywhere, right? And that's why it's good to learn that stuff now. And, at a certain point, I was talking to someone last night, too. They were asking, we were talking about, that same chip that says STM32, and he had background in 8-bit controllers and stuff like that, and he was interested in it. And he's like, oh, well, so that means, registers are 32 bits, and, asking all these different questions. I'm like, you know what? At a certain point...
You don't care.
It doesn't matter too much because that's what compilers are there for. But at the same time, understanding some of that underlying stuff is helpful. You don't need to.
No,
also,
but because yours is contextual electronics, you should definitely not care about that. Your whole idea is top down.
Yes.
All right. So no, you shouldn't even mention registers.
Yeah, good luck with that, Dave.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
Welcome to electronics. Well, try not to look at the resistors, registers, capacitors, LEDs, or any other components or internals of any part anywhere. All we're going to do is say the word electronics and hope it works out well.
You know what I'm talking about.
No, I have a new business model now. It's going to be great. It's just branding.
All right. I/O registers, peripheral registers, yes. Processor registers, no.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah. I see. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's huge. They're like ARM got bought, LT got bought, Atmel got bought. I mean,
the amp hour's for sale, apparently.
Yeah, we'll sell out. Why not?
Oh, sure, why not? For the right money. Like I said, if anyone wants to offer me billions of dollars for Dave, indentured servitude, I am willing. I'm willing to discuss. I will let him go for maybe just $1.5 billion. So,
and
surely I could find a co-host for that much.
Right. You could hire a trained monkey.
That's at least the monkey's got a good knee.
Mine is now a couple of times stronger than the original. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I don't see you leaping from limb to limb. I'm just saying, you might be stronger than old Dave. You're not stronger than new monkey, though.
Bastard.
I'll take new monkey any day.
In final news,
I've got a couple of things I'd like to mention, actually. But go ahead.
Okay. In our good friend of the Amp Hour, Andrew Bunny Huang, he's teamed up with Edward Snowden. How kick-ass is that?
And the EFF, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, anyway, so Bunny's suing the U.S. government and for DRM stuff and the what's it called? The DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyrights Act.
And he's written an article with Snowden. They've co-written an article together, which we'll link in. Yeah.
And it's good, too. I mean, it's a lot of stuff like, do you have the right to change the firmware on the devices you buy? I think that's an easy way to say it. I could be a little bit off the mark there, but I know it's about the copyright around firmware in the devices that you own. Do you actually own it?
It's bullshit. If you hand over money, you freaking own it. Like, it's just like, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of legal stuff to be talked about with that. So.
No, screw it. I will predict that ultimately we will win this.
I hope so. Yeah.
You know, that is my. It is so fundamentally right that it must happen for the future of.
Often the argument against it is
race.
like, well, what if you changed the firmware in your car and then you went and crashed into something? Like that's often an argument against.
Then you're personally liable. Then you're personally liable for that.
I think it's even simpler than that.
It doesn't mean you can't do it. Right?
Most people won't do it. That's the main thing.
Exactly. Two separate arguments entirely. You buy your car, you should be able to do anything you damn well like with it. You bought it. You own it. Right. I mean, you know, there's like surely this
has been covered by us before.
Must date back to the Babylonians. You know, like it's like it must be
But the argument is that that they own the copyright on that code, right, or whatever it is.
But screw it. Then they shouldn't have sold it to you. Screw them.
Hey man, I'm on board. Like I agree that this should not be covered under that
stuff. You
can't
like, modify it and then resell it and make a commercial business out of it. Fine, then you've violated copyright. But in the privacy of your own home, for something you bought, you should be able to do anything you damn well like. And I predict this will be one and must be one. I
agree with that.
For the future of humanity, like
for the future.
That big,
yeah.
You know, it's like
right. When Sagan and Huxley are biohacking, you know, they need to be able to biohack whatever the hell they want to.
Exactly.
Whatever genetically transformed dinosaur that they buy off the shelf, they have the right to modify that damn thing back into a bird. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Damn it.
Yes.
Okay. The other one I wanted to mention actually is about the particle, which I've been playing with a little bit, but I got an email from them.
Sorry, what?
The particle. So is this the Spark? It used to be Spark. They're now Particle. The company. It's like the Wi-Fi and 3G
There's
module.
So many freaking company changes.
I know.
How am I supposed to keep up?
That's fine. But actually, I think this is really interesting because what it shows is basically how it kind of is an insight into the business model of these kind of companies. So you see a lot of these like
this is Internet of Things crap.
IoT, yeah. But like, okay, honestly, like they make a decent product and that's fine. But like now, how do you deploy firmware changes for all that stuff, right? Same thing with like Electric Camp and all these things, like all of these centrally located clouds and stuff. Basically, these guys they have a console where you can look at all of the activated devices. So if you have 100 units in the field that are all based on their little module, it'll talk back to the server and say 100 are out there, 90 are active, whatever. 80 of them have this certain firmware revision, and then you can manage migrations and stuff as well, right? So if you need to push a firmware update, it actually handles some of that firmware update stuff as well.
And that's cool in an Orwellian way. But as a user, sometimes it's like I just want to flip them the finger, right, and go screw you. I don't want you to push anything to me.
This is not for you, Dave. This is for like industrial type.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like this is not for you.
But it can be abused by consumer products, surely.
Okay, here's the thing. You're still in Snowden mode right now. You have to turn off Snowden mode. Like I understand what you're saying. I'm talking about interesting business stuff. I think this is interesting because this is kind of what I think.
Sure, okay, I get it.
Like this is to the point where they would even sell the hardware at a loss because this is where they make the real money, right? This is the giveaway the hardware charge for the software thing.
You would pay per update per product. So every time you push out, it costs you 5 cents to push the firmware out to each product in the field.
Maybe that, or maybe it's like MailChimp, where like if the first 100 devices are free, and then the next tier you're paying $80 a month kind of thing.
So right, it could be a month.
I think that's even what they say in this email. They said $50. What did they say? 50. The first 50 are free, but after that.
And then after that, then you pay per item. Then you pay per email. You pay like 2 cents per email or something.
That's not how it works. That's not how MailChimp works either. Yeah, you pay tiers. It's all tiers. Yeah, so it's like when you get over the threshold, then you pay the next tier, and it's fine. I mean, like it's effectively, you could work out the math as well. But it's just interesting because this is the first. I mean, I know this exists a lot of other places as well, but this is the one that I've been closest to where it's like, okay, this is a legit software model, a SaaS model, right? Software as a service, like being applied to hardware, and like this. Like, I know that, you and I talk about this a lot. We scoff at IoT a lot, and yet at the same time,
you are traveling down the dark path. Be very careful, my Padawan learner.
I'm not your Padawan. I can be your Jedi opponent or whatever I can be the Sith to your Jedi. Fine, but I'm not your Padawan. Come on, man. Anyway, yeah, you're right, but at the same time, look, it's coming either way, and I think that the companies that do it right are going to be, you know what I mean? Like we've talked about the dumpster. Maybe we didn't. Oh, there was another article about the dumpster fire about security, right? If you need to push a security update to all your devices, like, look, that's a big deal, and you're not going to get most consumers to plug in a wire, right? You have to do that remotely usually. And yes, there are Snowden-esque worries about that stuff, and I understand that, and like there are legitimate concerns all around. But what I'm saying is, from seeing a software model applied to hardware, I haven't seen it too much, and I think this is interesting. So it's just a
fine.
It's just a line in the sand, and we're just jumping over another one. So, because Lord knows we're not going to have any more goddamn chip companies to talk about. Yeah. You'll notice that I did put on the explicit tag for all of our episodes, so I don't feel bad about swearing anymore either.
Excellent. Sounds good to me.
But is that a swear word? But no.
There's some people who complain that ass is a swear word.
Yeah, I know. People
blow it out your
ass,
ass,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
Offended by everything.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Let's not get me started on America. Good Lord. There's lots of other great links. People should check it out. Our subreddit is reddit.com/r/theamphour. You can subscribe to that and check out our stories throughout the week. Or you can follow our Twitter account, which might be even easier, twitter.com/theamphour, and it auto-posts all the stories there.
And you can listen to this on YouTube.
That's right. Yeah,
you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and every episode gets auto-posted, so we won't forget. Gets auto-posted to YouTube. So if you prefer YouTube, go for it.
And, of course, we should thank the people that make all this possible, our Patreon sponsors. Thank you to all of them. I did just push through a bunch of updates at the end of the month because I forgot to. So sorry about that, but, it was July. So, and we appreciate it. That is what allows us to send microphones to our guests and pay for servers and everything else. And I did actually set a goal that if we hit, right now we're at about 120 per episode. If we hit 200 per episode on Patreon, we'll start doing transcripts again. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, you can. That is our next goal. So
awesome.
If you're not, that's fine. But we appreciate the support either way.
All right. That's it for this week.
That's it. Yep.
Done.
Good talking to you, buddy. Hope your knee continues to heal quickly.
Thank you very much. I hope America heals quickly.
Nope. Not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. 10-meter pole. How about that? Talk to you next week.
Catch you next time.
Nope. Talk about dumpster fire.